For most of us, most of the time, we experience life through all five senses. We see, hear, taste, smell, and touch the world around us. We gather information through all of our senses and use that to learn about and interact with our environment. Let's say I want to learn about apples, but I don't actually have an apple. I can learn what an apple looks like by seeing a picture. I can learn what an apple sounds like by listening to an audio file. I can read a description of how an apple tastes, feels, and smells. But to really know and understand what an apple is, the best way for me to learn is to actually have an apple. I can look at the apple. I can listen to the apple. I can touch the apple. I can smell the apple. And I can taste the apple. First-hand experience helped me to learn more about the apple than I could have with text or pictures alone. But there's really so much more I could learn about apples. Where do they grow? How are they harvested? I could go to an orchard and talk to a grower. But what if it's winter? Or I live someplace where apples don't grow. I can read about it in a book, or my teacher can tell me about it, but I learn best when I use multiple channels to process information. When I see something, my brain processes it through the visual channel in the occipital lobe. And when I hear something, my brain processes it through the verbal channel in the temporal lobe.
Robert Mayer's multimedia learning theory is built on research that has found that, quote, people learn more deeply from words and pictures than from words alone, unquote. But this doesn't mean you just slap a picture up next to your text. The theory is based on three things. The first is dual coding theory, those visual and auditory channels Kate told us about. This is Alan Pivio's theory that says that there are two separate subsystems which work independently. When information is presented that uses both channels, it is coded two ways, which improves recall. Next is limited capacity, which recognizes that working memory can only hold 7 plus or minus 2 pieces of information. And last is active processing. Meyer and Moreno tell us that in multimedia learning there are three important cognitive processes: selecting incoming information, organizing information to build mental models, and integrating information to make connections between events. In multimedia learning, students are able to build two different mental representations, a verbal model and a visual model, and build connections between them. What we know about learning helps us use tools that, when used effectively, will improve learning. In the publication How People Learn, the authors tell us that multimedia and technology, quote, create new opportunities for curriculum and instruction by bringing real-world problems into the classroom for students to explore and solve. Multimedia has grown to mean anything from graphics to sound, animation, video, and the millions of pages of hypertext that can be found on the internet. It can take us places that a textbook can't, and allow us to be creative and problem solve in ways that aren't possible with text alone.
So, how can multimedia help me learn? First, make sure you have my attention so that I can process the information. Second, make sure any text or visuals are well synchronized. And third, don't give me too much new information at once, or it won't make it into my long-term memory. In the classroom, I won't always be able to use all five senses to learn new information, but well-placed use of multimedia will improve my learning because I can process information more efficiently and more completely. When some people think of apples, they think of the old saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But now that you've seen this awesome video, when you think of apples, maybe you'll think of how multimedia can enhance instruction. Or not.